In one of the strangest moves yet in the Blake Lively legal saga, the actress has just inserted herself into a lawsuit where she isn't even a party. That's right, Blake Lively is now actively supporting Stephanie Jones in a separate case against Jennifer Abel. But here's the twist. This case has nothing to do with her own lawsuit against Justin Baldoni and the It Ends With Us production team. So why is Blake Lively fighting someone else's legal battle? Could this risky maneuver backfire spectacularly in court? Or does she know something that could change everything? Before we dive in, if you're interested in celebrity legal drama and want to stay updated on every twist in this case, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. This story gets more complex by the day, and you won't want to miss what happens next. What do you think? Is this a calculated strategic move? Or is Blake Lively digging herself into a deeper hole? Drop your thoughts in the comments as we break this down. A public hearing is scheduled for this afternoon in Jones versus Abel, a case that's technically separate from Lively versus Baldoni, but increasingly entangled with it. The Jones legal team is pushing to reopen discovery, seeking additional information from Katie Cassis, a former employee of Tag PR, the crisis management firm run by Melissa Nathan. Here's where things get complicated. Jennifer Abel is in a bitter dispute with Stephanie Jones over allegations that Jones took Abel's phone and allegedly held her phone number hostage. According to the claims, Jones improperly extracted all communications from that device and then secretly handed them over to Blake Lively. Now, here's the bombshell theory circulating in legal circles. Blake Lively allegedly filed a fake lawsuit through one of her shell companies, Vanzin, specifically to serve Stephanie Jones. The purpose? To make it appear as though those communications were obtained through legitimate legal channels rather than under-the-table dealings. But there's another layer to this story. It appears that Melissa Nathan and Stephanie Jones have had a long-standing feud that predates any of these lawsuits. Jones actively opposed bringing Nathan and Tag PR onto the Wayfarer crisis management team, despite the fact that Jones was barely involved with their account initially. She only jumped in once the situation was already spiraling out of control, and according to multiple accounts, she made things exponentially worse. So, why does any of this matter to Blake Lively's case? That's the million-dollar question. The current issue centers on Katie Cassis, the former Tag employee. Stephanie Jones and her company, Jones Works, claim that Cassis hasn't produced responsive materials to the subpoena they served. They allege that the Wayfarer defendants interfered by raising objections to Cassis' production. The specific accusation? That Katie Cassis, allegedly at Melissa Nathan's direction, was involved in creating the Stephanie Jones Leaks website and operating disparaging Twitter accounts targeting Jones. But here's what makes Blake Lively's involvement so bizarre. None of this has anything to do with her own sexual harassment and retaliation claims against Justin Baldoni. To put it bluntly, most people probably wouldn't have paid much attention to these alleged smear websites if Stephanie Jones hadn't elevated them through litigation. These kinds of anonymous attack accounts exist for virtually every public figure. They're unpleasant, certainly, but typically they fade into the background noise of the internet. Stephanie Jones, however, has chosen a scorched earth approach. The problem with that strategy? Even if Jones could definitively prove that specific people at Tag were behind these accounts, and remember, this is a former Tag employee, potentially acting independently, she faces a massive uphill battle proving actual damages from anonymous Twitter insults. Why risk it all on such a questionable legal theory? This brings us to Blake Lively's strange decision to wade into this mess. In a letter to the court, Lively's legal team wrote, "Plaintiff Blake Lively respectfully writes this court in support of the motion of Stephanie Jones and Jones Works, seeking that this court compel third-party Katie Cassis to produce relevant non-privileged materials in response to the Rule 45 subpoenas served on her." The letter continues, "The documents sought by the Jones parties should have been produced to Miss Lively months ago in accordance with this court's order. Instead, Miss Lively only learned of their existence when Miss Cassis confirmed that she possessed and agreed to produce certain documents in response to the Jones party's supplemental subpoena." Let that sink in. Blake Lively is claiming she has a right to documents in a case where she is not a party. She's essentially arguing that information about anti-Stephanie Jones websites is highly relevant to her own trial against the Wayfarer defendants because these documents will meaningfully assist the jury in assessing the credibility and truthfulness of key witnesses. But here's the legal problem. Blake Lively is not a party to Jones versus Abel. She has no standing to request anything in that case. And crucially, she hasn't demonstrated how an anti-Stephanie Jones Twitter account or website has any connection whatsoever to her claims of sexual harassment on a film set. The subpoena in question asked for documents concerning what was defined as a digital campaign, Specifically, efforts by the Wayfair defendants, including Tag, Melissa Nathan, and Wallace Street Relations, to communicate information through social media, news outlets, or other internet platforms. Notably, Wallace Street Relations has already been dismissed entirely from Blake Lively's lawsuit for the second time and won't be returning. Could this entire maneuver backfire in court? From a legal standpoint, Blake Lively's move raises serious questions about standing and relevance. Standing is a fundamental legal concept. In simple terms, it means you must be an actual party to a case to have the right to request evidence or make arguments in that proceeding. Blake Lively is not a party in Jones versus Abel. Her attempt to insert herself and demand documents from that separate case is highly irregular. Her legal team is attempting to argue that because Katie Cassis apparently agreed to produce certain documents to the Jones parties, this somehow confirms that Lively was entitled to those same documents months ago in her own case. But that logic doesn't hold up. The documents Cassis is being asked to produce concern anti-Stephanie Jones websites and social media posts. Lively hasn't explained how information about attacks on Stephanie Jones relates to her own harassment and retaliation claims. There's also the relevance problem. Discovery rules allow parties to obtain information that's reasonably calculated to lead to admissible evidence. But Lively is stretching that definition to the breaking point. She's essentially arguing, any document that mentions Melissa Nathan or Tag PR is relevant to my case, even if it has nothing to do with me, because it might impeach witness credibility. Courts generally don't allow fishing expeditions, and that's what this looks like. Blake Lively's letter also makes a striking claim. She suggests that if documents about Stephanie Jones' websites were sent to or from Melissa Nathan or Jed Wallace, this would be potentially further evidence of spoliation. Spoliation is the legal term for destroying or hiding evidence. Lively has been pushing hard on the theory that evidence of a smear campaign must have been deleted because her team can't find proof that one existed. But here's the alternative explanation that Lively seems unwilling to consider. Maybe there was no coordinated smear campaign. Maybe the backlash against Blake Lively during the It Ends With Us promotion was organic, driven by her own controversial comments and interviews, her dismissive attitude toward domestic violence themes in the film, and past behavior that resurfaced and struck audiences as tone-deaf or offensive. Was this letter a strategic masterstroke or a desperate overreach? The responses from Katie Casey's attorney and the Wayfair legal team were swift and cutting. Casey's lawyer stated that they're responding solely for the purpose of correcting the record. The attorney explained that Cassis conducted an extensive review based on agreed search terms, applied to agreed sources, within a date range set by the court. All responsive, non-privileged documents were produced. The assertion that Cassis withheld documents simply because additional records might exist outside those agreed parameters is, according to her attorney, untrue as Miss Lively's counsel knows or should know. The Wayfair defendants were even more direct. Miss Lively has filed a robust letter in support of a motion filed by another party in another case, in which she is not a party to compel compliance with a subpoena that she did not serve. They argue that Lively lacks standing to enforce the subpoena because she didn't serve it. Most damningly, they point out, Miss Lively does not explain how any difference in testimonial evidence concerning Stephanie Jones' leaks or any other website is relevant to Miss Lively's claims. The hearing scheduled for this afternoon could provide crucial insights into how the judge views Blake Lively's unusual intervention in the Jones versus Abel case. Will the court allow this cross-pollination of separate legal proceedings? Or will it draw a firm line and tell Lively to focus on her own case? And if this case moves forward with Blake Lively's expanded discovery requests denied, as seems increasingly likely, it could expose significant weaknesses in her overall legal strategy. Without the smoking gun evidence she keeps insisting must exist somewhere, her case may come down to a he-said-she-said battle where the absence of proof becomes the most important fact of all. What do you think? Is Blake Lively's legal team pursuing legitimate avenues of discovery? Or is this starting to look like a desperate search for evidence that doesn't exist? Is Stephanie Jones a valuable ally bringing important information to light? Or is she dragging everyone into unnecessary litigation? Drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear your analysis. And if you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates on this rapidly evolving legal saga. Share this with anyone following the Blake Lively case. This is information they need to see. This story is far from over, and the implications could reach far beyond just these specific individuals.
Stay tuned.